The former Port Arthur prison in Tasmania was used to hold Australia's worst criminals during the colonial era. With such a violent and tragic history, it is no surprise that there are many ghost stories associated with the prison. One of the most famous stories is about a hanging guard who haunts the area of the former execution room. He is said to appear dressed in his gray uniform and uses a flashlight to light the way. Many visitors report hearing his footsteps as they walk through the room. Another scary story is that of Iron Man, a prisoner who was kept in total isolation in the so-called punishment cell. It is said that he spent years locked in a windowless cell with only a hole in the door to receive food. When he was finally released, he was so mad that he had to be taken to a psychiatric institution. Visitors report feeling a sinister presence in the punishment cell area and even seeing the spectral figure of Iron Man. There are also stories of other ghosts, such as that of a young woman who was killed by her husband in the women's ward and now roams the halls seeking justice. Some visitors report feeling an icy presence while walking through this wing. With so many scary stories and such a tragic history, it is no surprise that Port Arthur's former prison is considered one of the most haunted places in Australia. Hauska Castle is a medieval castle located in the Czech Republic that has a dark history and frightening legends. During the Middle Ages, the castle was used as a prison for political prisoners and religious dissidents, which resulted in much violence and suffering. It is believed that many of these prisoners died in prison, leaving behind a negative energy that can still be felt in the castle. Hauska Castle is said to be built on top of a bottomless pit that leads directly to hell. It is believed that the well was built to seal a portal to hell that was wreaking havoc in the area. It is said that the supernatural creatures and the tormented souls that came out of the portal were so horrible that the people of the region built the castle to seal off the well and keep the evil creatures away. Visitors to the castle report experiencing a number of unexplained and frightening phenomena, such as whispering voices, footsteps echoing in the empty halls, and the feeling of being watched by an unseen presence. Some visitors claim to have seen apparitions of ghosts, including a headless horseman wandering the halls. Some believe that the scary legends of Hauska Castle are just made-up horror stories to attract tourists, but many others swear that the castle is really haunted and that the negative energy that permeates the place is real. If you are a fan of horror stories and paranormal activities, it might be worth visiting Hauska Castle to experience it all for yourself. San Lucas Prison, located in Baja California Sur, was one of the most brutal and violent prisons in Mexico, operating from 1976 until its deactivation in 2007. The prison was known for its inhumane methods, with inmates often subjected to torture, murder, and abuse by guards. Since the prison's closure, reports of paranormal activity have become increasingly common. Many people believe that the ghosts of inmates who were killed there still roam the dark and gloomy corridors of the prison. Among the most frightening stories are reports of screams and moans coming from the cells, sounds of footsteps dragging in the hallways, and sightings of shadowy figures and shadows that quickly disappear. Many visitors also report feeling an unexplained presence or negative energy in the abandoned prison. In addition, there are many reports of audio and video recording equipment mysteriously failing inside the prison, and many claim to have captured unexplained images and sounds in their recordings. Despite being closed to visitors, many people still risk entering the San Lucas prison in search of a unique and terrifying paranormal experience. But it is important to remember that this prison is extremely dangerous, both because of the physical dangers and the possible paranormal activities that occur there. The Eastern State Penitentiary, located in Philadelphia, is one of the most frightening prisons in North America. The prison opened in 1829 and was considered one of the most modern and progressive prisons of its time. However, the prison soon became famous for its rigid and oppressive approach to rehabilitation. During its operation, the penitentiary witnessed many cases of violence, torture, and even murder. Many inmates were kept in solitary confinement for years on end, without any human contact. As a result, the prison gained a reputation for cruelty and inhumanity. Today, Eastern State Penitentiary is a popular destination for tourists who wish to explore the prison's dark history. However, many visitors report supernatural experiences while exploring the empty cells and silent corridors. One of the prison's most famous stories is that of the ghost of Al Capone, who was imprisoned at Eastern State Penitentiary in 1929 for illegally carrying weapons. Capone stayed in prison for about a year, and during that time he kept a luxurious suite with Persian carpets, a radio, and a pool table. Capone's ghost is said to still haunt the suite, and many visitors report hearing strange voices and laughter coming from the empty room. In addition to Capone's ghost, many visitors claim to have felt an unexplained presence in the prison, especially in the solitary cell known as Block 12. This cell is said to be particularly frightening because many inmates were kept there for long periods of time, sometimes for years on end, in complete darkness and isolation. Some visitors claim to have felt a sense of oppression and sadness while there, and many report hearing unexplained moaning and whispering. Other areas of the prison are also considered haunted, including Block 15, which was used for executions, and the workshop area, where many inmates died in work accidents. Although there is no scientific evidence to prove the existence of ghosts or paranormal activity at Eastern State Penitentiary, many people report frightening experiences while visiting the prison. If you are brave enough to visit the Eastern State Penitentiary, be prepared to feel the presence of the supernatural as you explore the empty cells and dark corridors. Alcatraz is a former federal prison located on a rocky island in San Francisco Bay, California, United States. From 1934 to 1963, the prison housed notorious criminals such as Al Capone and Robert Stroud, also known as the Birdman. During its years of operation, the prison was the scene of several escape attempts, which left a legacy of violent and heartbreaking stories. Since the prison closed, many people have reported experiencing paranormal phenomena on the island. Sightings of apparitions, strange sounds, and sensations of unseen presences are just a few examples. The most haunted places on the island include Block D, a maximum security wing where the most dangerous inmates were kept in prolonged solitary confinement, and the autopsy room, where many bodies were prepared for burial. Even some of the guards and staff who worked at Alcatraz have reported encounters with frightening spirits and unexplained sensations. Visitors claim to have felt the presence of ghosts of inmates who died at Alcatraz, as well as deceased guards who patrolled the hallways and guarded the cells. There are reports of negative and oppressive energy in certain areas of the island, associated with the dark and violent history of the prison. Some people claim to have captured images of glowing orbs in their photographs, which many believe is evidence of paranormal activity on the island. While many people report supernatural experiences on Alcatraz, it is important to remember that not all stories are proven. Alcatraz Island remains a popular tourist destination where visitors can explore the history and mysterious atmosphere of the place.